Я хочу вас всех поздравить с возвращением на родину. Сейчас хочу обратиться к тем из вас, кто имеет прямое отношение к военной службе. Хочу поблагодарить вас за верность присяге, своему долгу и оружию, которая ни на минуту о вас не забывала. И вот вы дома. Все вы будете представлены государственным наградам. Мы с вами еще увидимся, поговорим о вашем будущем. А сейчас просто хочу вас поздравить с возвращением домой. Спасибо вам большое. Поздравляю вас. Спасибо вам. Спасибо. Да, спасибо.
How does her changing her views on her policy justify having the Republican nominee questioning her race? How does that increase or decrease your party's chances of winning in November?
Well, Caitlin, you haven't had that conversation with Kamala Harris because she's been hiding out.
I want to have this conversation with you, Senator.
Just like Joe Biden hid out before her. And my point is, when are you and the rest of the media going to demand that Kamala Harris come out and answer questions in an unscripted format about where she stands for this country, as opposed to continuing to focus on what Donald Trump said today? You know, 4 years ago, Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. Could you imagine a more insulting comment? Joe Biden is presuming to judge the political views of 1/8 of our fellow citizens based on their skin color. Did you ever ask Kamala Harris to condemn his remarks?
There are
Did you ever ask him or ask her if that was racist?
This is a question. You're a Republican senator, so I want to ask you about the Republican
nominee. Did you ask Kamala Harris? Caitlin, did you ask Kamala Harris why she's willing to serve as vice president for a man she essentially called racist and a segregationist? Have you or anyone else in the media asked Kamala Harris those questions, Caitlin?
Senator, trust me, I covered the Biden-Harris White House. We obviously have asked for her to come on, but my question is for you about this. Donald Trump's pick for VP once questioned whether he was America's Hitler.
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is a good one. Well done, Tom Cotton. I'm not sure if he's my favorite senator, but I got to tell you, that was gold. This is exactly how you should approach questions like that. Questions like that are not asked in good faith. Journalists don't ask Democrats the same questions, and they don't hold them to the same standards. And so, well done. Close the book on them and say it. Now, somebody who has been saying some very amazing and perfect rings like a bell commentary about Kamala Harris has been Elon Musk. Elon Musk said, "This is amazing," to a Kamala Harris advertisement. That is my favorite ad of the cycle so far, with 140 million views. The most viral ad of the election cycle so far. Get ready. Here's Kamala.
I, Kamala Harris, and your Democrat candidate for president, because Joe Biden finally exposed his senility at the debate. Thanks, Joe. I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist. I may not know the first thing about running the country, but remember, that's a good thing if you're a deep state puppet. I had 4 years under the tutelage of the ultimate deep state puppet, a wonderful mentor, Joe Biden. Joe taught me rule number 1, carefully hide your total incompetence. I take insignificant things and I discuss them as if they're significant. And I believe that exploring the significance of the insignificant is in itself significant.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time. Right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time, and there is such great significance to the passage of time.
Another trick is trying to sound black. I pretend to celebrate Kwanzaa, and in my speeches, I always do my best Barack Obama impression.
So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
And okay, look, maybe my work addressing the root causes of the border crisis were catastrophic, but my knowledge of international politics is truly shocking.
The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. It is an alliance that is strong and enduring.
And just remember, when voting this November, it is important to see what can be unburdened by what has been. And by what has been, I mean Joe Biden. Do you think
All right. Vivek, I want to give you a chance to react to that. No doubt it's going to get attention. It already is.
Yeah, so look, on a very personal level, my parents were immigrants to this country, legal immigrants from southern India. Very same part of India that her mother also immigrated from. I think it's a hard fact, Martha, it's just a fact, whether you like it or not, that many Indian Americans in the United States are indeed somewhat offended by the way Kamala has suddenly cast aside the Indian American side of her identity. She leaned into it when she ran for office in California. Big Asian American and Indian American population. So she wore that when it was convenient. She's wearing a different identity now when it's politically convenient on a national stage. Personally, I don't think we should be relying on these ethnic identities at all. We're actually American. And the problem is when you're Kamala Harris and you actually do lean into your identity politics, then you open the door to that type of criticism. But if you ask me, that shouldn't be how this election is decided one way or another. It should be decided on our own identity as Americans and what our vision is for the future of the country. And the number one thing missing in Kamala Harris's candidacy is that she lacks that vision for the country. That's what we got to focus on.
Okay. Very interesting to hear from you and to hear your call for a reset in your party.
Vivek, as ever, right? Rings like a bell. Vivek this morning has been saying that, man, this thing flew. 3.2 million views. Holy cannoli. Give it a little bit of love there. Why not? Yeah, why not? Because we love it. Here you go. Just like my own tweet. Well, that's shameless. We're shameless on this program. 3.2 million views, 20,000 people posted this, including Vivek, saying, you know, truth hurts sometimes. But Vivek also following up this morning with commentary. Here we go. Commentary on Kamala Harris. Hard truth is we need a massive reset right now. The criticism of Kamala Harris mounting a coup on Joe Biden isn't landing. Neither is the claim that she covered up Biden's cognitive decline. None of that matters to voters now. We need to offer up our vision for America. It's the only way going to win this election. So Vivek sort of sounding the alarm, saying this is time to recognize a true, actual threat to the country, which is somebody who, as Donald Trump, articulately or inarticulately, it doesn't really matter to me, like Trump in his own way is trying to say, like, Kamala Harris is an empty vessel. She is fake. She isn't real. We don't know anything about her. She didn't go through a primary process. Nobody voted for her. She's a cutout to some of the most evil people and some of the darkest mendacities in our country, and she always has been. And so it's time to, like, actually project what we want for the country instead of what they want. Which is
one family out of 7 in the Soviet Union owns an automobile. Most of the automobiles are driven by the bureaucrats. The government furnishes them and drivers and so forth. So an order went out one day to the police that anyone caught speeding, anyone, no matter who, gets a ticket. Well, Gorbachev came out of his country home, his dacha. He was late getting to the Kremlin. There was his limousine and driver waiting. He told the driver to get in the back seat, he'd drive, and down the road he went. They passed 2 motorcycle cops. One took out after him. And pretty soon he's back with his buddy, and his buddy says, well, did you give him a ticket? And he said, no. Well, he said, why not? Oh, he said, they're too important. Well, he said, we're told to give anybody a ticket, no matter who it is. Oh, he said, no, this one was too, I could. Well, he said, who was it? He said, I couldn't recognize him. But his driver was Gorbachev. About 3 dogs, an American dog and a Polish dog and a Russian dog. They were all having a visit, and the American dog was telling them about how things were in this country. He said, you know, you bark, and you bark long enough, and then somebody comes along and gives you some meat. And the Polish dog said, what's meat? The Russian dog says, what's bark? This one has to do with the fact that in the Soviet Union, if you want to buy an automobile, there is a 10-year wait. And you go through quite a process when you're ready to buy, and then you put up the money in advance. So there was a young fellow there that had finally made it, and he was going through all the bureaus and agencies that he had to go through and signing all the papers, and finally got to that last agency where they put the stamp on it. And the man then that had made the final stamp of the paper, taking the money, said, all right, come back in 10 years and get delivery of your car. And he said, morning or afternoon? And the fella said, well, 10 years from now, what difference does it make? He said, the plumber's coming in the morning. But I remember the story of a fellow who was running for office as a Republican, and he was in a rural area and it wasn't known to be Republican, and he stopped by a farm to do some campaigning. And when the farmer heard he was a Republican, his jaw dropped and he said, wait right here till I go get Ma. She's never seen a Republican before. So he got her, and the candidate looked around for a podium from which to give his speech, and the only thing he could find was a pile of that stuff that Bess Truman took 35 years trying to get Harry to call fertilizer. So he got up on the mound, and when they came back, he gave his speech. And at the end of it, the farmer said, that's the first time I ever heard a Republican speech. And the candidate said, that's the first time I've ever given a Republican speech from a Democratic platform.
Target locked.
Tao po. Pabili po ng saging. Isara. Ba, nagutom ako ha. Pwede pahawak. Medyo masakit kasi yung ano ko eh. Medyo masakit kasi yung kamay.
Pwede ba napatigim kahit isang saglit ubusin natin ang kasama sa pamigay.
No.
Ang sarap pala ng saging mo.
Pero di ko kaya bumitaw, kaya masasaktan. Ako'y walang iwanan.
No.
Iya. Moron.
Wah, medikit je.